Story 1. You cannot do this by yourself. That said, the basic level of food safety knowledge is quite low. Here's what I tell people. Pasteurization is your friend. Only 47% of Americans know that pasteurization makes milk safe. Raw meat is dangerous. Do not wash it, but do keep it cold. Cook it completely according to standards. Cook your raw eggs, especially with avian influenza. Whether the outside of a raw egg should be washed is one of the interesting differences in food safety between the United States and Europe, but you really need to keep United States eggs cold. Steak is safer than ground beef. If you can go to a butcher and have them grind it fresh and cook it the same day, that is potentially safer than prepackaged if it sits longer. Deli meat cut in front of you is not safer than prepackaged. Also, boar's head is concerning. Actually, just assume everything in the deli case has listeria. Do not eat it, even the gelatin salad, if you are under the age of 5, over the age of 70, or pregnant. Do not eat raw sprouts if you are under the age of 5, over the age of 70, pregnant, or just cautious. Seriously, raw sprouts are the one food I ate before pursuing a postdoctoral degree in food science microbiology, and I no longer consume them. Extremely specific advice. If you are in one of those listeria risk categories, do not cut your cantaloupe and put it back in the refrigerator for a week before eating it. Wash the rind. Listeria loves that rind. Salad spinner? Do not blindly trust pre-washed. Wash produce immediately before use. Do not wash your mushrooms when you bring them home and then put them back in the refrigerator. If you are pregnant, you can heat your deli meat to make it safe. Just place it in the microwave until steaming hot, 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Ensure there are no uneven heating or cold spots in the microwave. If you are cooking a large item of meat that you do not cook regularly, for example, a Thanksgiving turkey, get a thermometer and follow food safety recommendations. Trust nothing. People are aware of risks associated with raw ground beef, but they do not always suspect raw flour, peanut butter, tahini, or macaroni and cheese. A surprising variety of foods can be tainted with salmonella. Do not trust canned items from home kitchens unless you are confident that the people making them understand spores. Botulism is serious. Wash your hands with soap for 30 seconds. Wash your kitchen implements well. In this home of 2 PhDs in microbiology, we soak nearly everything in bleach. It is not necessary to do this with pots and pans that are going to be heated very hot, but I believe it is wise for silverware. Story 2. Clean your produce. Avoid pre-cut fruit and vegetables that you plan to eat raw, especially bagged lettuce. Pre-cut produce that you will cook is acceptable. Story 3. Wash everything, even the items that say they are pre-washed and ready to eat. Cook it thoroughly. Story 4. Personally, I'm expanding my vegetable garden at home, signed up for a farm share box, and plan to buy more food from farmers markets. My understanding is that food that you fully cook at home is less risky, while pre-cooked foods that you do not reheat, such as deli meats, and foods that you eat raw, like lettuce, are relatively higher risk. Story 5. I don't know if you are old enough to remember, but many elder millennials and Generation X individuals grew up with parents and grandparents who boiled everything to the point of mush, leaving it without flavor. This generational trauma stemmed from a lack of food safety standards. We may need to return to those practices. Grow your own vegetables if you can, but everything you buy at the store must be washed more thoroughly than you have ever washed anything. Avoid foods like lettuce, which is often the source of listeria outbreaks. Do not buy milk. Be diligent with your meat thermometer instead of estimating, especially when cooking pork products. Story 6. Cook from home more. Make your own staples, like learning how to make homemade bread, butter, pasta, sauces, and condiments. Visit farmers markets more and buy produce locally. Find local chicken farms to obtain eggs. Story 7. Hold the individuals who voted for this accountable in whatever way you find suitable. They imposed this on all of us. Story 8. I am a food scientist with over 20 years of food safety experience. Handle food appropriately. Respect the cold chain. Cook or heat food thoroughly. If you have significant concerns, stay away from higher-risk foods such as fresh fruits and vegetables that you will eat raw, or other raw foods like sushi. Honestly, we should not see too much of an impact as most food companies follow proper practices. Their brand is at risk if they do not, as seen in the case of Chipotle. There are a few bad actors, but overall they are limited. Story 9. If you are eating out, restaurants and grocery stores are still inspected and regulated by local authorities, typically the city or county health department. You can look up health inspection reports online before visiting restaurants. Some municipalities require restaurants to post their inspection scores at the entrance. Although there may no longer be a way to know if the food supply a restaurant receives is safe, you can at least ensure that it was handled and cooked safely. Story 10. Fruits and vegetables. Shop from the source as much as possible. Produce from farmers' markets is usually handled by fewer steps in the process that could potentially expose you. Wash and cut your produce before eating it rather than buying pre-washed and pre-chopped vegetables and fruits. Takes more work, but it will likely taste fresher and more flavorful as well. Story 11. I imagine this will become a state-by-state issue. This will likely mean increased costs, as each state will need its own agency rather than a communal one. Additionally, some states, particularly in the South, may not invest in their communities, leading to significant problems. This situation could discourage businesses from operating in conservative states, as they may prefer to engage with liberal states and avoid producing two categories of products: safe and potentially unsafe. Story 12. You need to take action and contact your representative in Congress. Inform them to stop the layoffs and funding cuts. Express your concerns about Project 2025. Reach out to whoever you can and do not use the excuse that they don't care. They will care because elections are approaching soon. Story 13. Wash everything, buy from local sources, and when shopping for food, attempt to research brands and stores. For instance, I trust Costco's vetting and standards more than those of Winn-Dixie. Story 14. I am very careful about where I spend my money, which is now going beyond boycotting Target, Amazon, Hobby Lobby, and others. I am spending more time researching companies that appear to be ethical until I learn otherwise. Story 15. Move to a more civilized country. Remove Trump from office. Hold him accountable and eliminate individuals with extremist views from government. Story 16. Eat well, wash your hands, and encourage voter participation by addressing past events. It's important to consider whether both sides are equally responsible. Story 17. Food companies will continue to conduct safety checks. However, much of the lab testing and supplies that were previously covered by government funding will now need to be purchased from private sources, leading to increased food prices. Story 18. One of the most useful classes I took in college was meat science. I also interned at state agencies that inspected commercial herds and flocks at large farms. I am shifting my purchasing to a local butcher from farms I can research or have visited. With budget cuts to the United States Department of Agriculture inspectors and the Food and Drug Administration, animal welfare will suffer. I am also expanding my home garden this year. Story 19. Victory gardens are a great option if you have a bit of dirt to work with. If not, consider visiting local farmers markets that offer verifiable, self-grown organic and natural produce. Be cautious, as some vendors may resell supermarket items. For more information on sustainable local produce, contact your state's Agricultural Extension Office. Story 20. Learn to love beans, legumes, and other alternative protein sources, or cook your meat well done. I know I will be avoiding pork for a while. Story 21. It is surprising to me because the United States already did not have high standards compared to European counterparts. Story 22. You can't. If Tyson Foods kills 300 people with contaminated chicken and the government has no means to punish this, Tyson Foods has no vested interest in caring. They are large. Most people won't hear about the deaths, and many, upon hearing about it, will just go on with their lives. Others may not be able to afford the alternatives. Americans are about to learn, through an incredibly painful and destructive experience, exactly why a significant government presence existed and why allowing corporations to purchase and dismantle it was not in their best interest. A large country equals a strong government. Otherwise, you're just living as a serf. Story 23. The milk is still under evaluation. They paused the proficiency testing due to budget cuts and are switching laboratories. Here is a statement on milk safety. Story 24. I have bought 2 raised garden beds to add to the one I already have. Grow your own food if possible. Every little bit helps. Story 25. Always wash your hands after every trip to the grocery store. Learn the proper cooking temperatures for foods. Keep your cooking area spotlessly clean. Wash anything with edible skin with soap and water, then rinse before eating. Story 26. I think it was Abraham Lincoln who had a relative die after eating bad chicken. He was so moved by witnessing a truly awful death that he began to focus on food safety. Cutting these inspections for a trivial amount of money is simply cruel. Anyone can suffer from eating unsafe food. Story 27. Thank you for asking this question. It's on my mind as well. I'm wondering if this is something that could be privatized relatively quickly. A company could be established to ensure food safety by hiring the individuals who were recently let go. I would pay for this peace of mind. How feasible is this idea? Story 28. What should we do if we have celiac disease or similar conditions that are not always considered allergies and that already have inadequate labeling laws and guidelines? Story 29. My plan is to eat significantly less meat, stop buying dairy products altogether, eat more cooked vegetables, and stop eating raw foods like sushi, salads, and ceviche, which I know is technically cooked, but I don't think vinegar can do the heavy lifting that heat does when it comes to killing bacteria. Story 30. At this point, I advise everyone to stock up on nitrile gloves and change them often while cooking. Wash your hands frequently, but the purpose of the gloves is to reduce the risk of cross-contamination. If you work with food, be vigilant about this as well. The Food and Drug Administration may be scaling back, but future developments will depend on the decisions made by your state's health department. Story 31. I am a pastured poultry and egg farmer, as well as a home gardener and canner. I suggest trying to grow some of your own food if possible. It seems that vegetables are frequently being recalled for E. coli and listeria. If you have containers or a balcony, you can grow some things for yourself and know how they are handled. It's also therapeutic and empowering to know you don't have to rely on corporations that use unsafe practices. Similarly, with meats and eggs, try to find local farmers. We raise our chickens in the sun and fresh air on our pasture and use a USDA-certified butcher. Our chicken is more expensive, but it is not washed in bleach or pumped full of hormones, and our butcher uses all organic products and air chills the meat. Remember, meat should be a treat. Consider paying more for less meat and supplementing with high-protein vegetables like beans. Look for community gardens and community-supported agriculture programs. Embrace your community. This is how we can get through these challenges. Got a bumper crop of tomatoes? Trade for peppers with a neighbor. Victory gardens are essential. We are already being negatively impacted by highly processed foods. We need to return to using fresh ingredients and cooking for ourselves. Find cooperatives and support local businesses, as they will need it. If you're gardening, use open-pollinated plants, save the seeds, and share them. Story 32. There is a concern that by the time untested products reach the market, we may not have the funds to purchase them. I am truly counting on the US government yielding to pressure before we reach that point. I do not believe Trump has the ability to maintain this situation. Story 33. Buy a sous vide wand for low-temperature cooking through pasteurization. Also consider an instant pot multi-cooker. Wash, scrub, and clean ingredients properly. Purchase from trusted sources. Cook at home. Buy less meat, but choose higher quality, ethically reared options. Insist on European food standards, which are generally superior. Import Canadian food, as their standards often match European food standards. Get out of America while you can. Story 34. If you're in a place where you can do it, farm to table is an excellent option. Meet your farmers and truly understand where your food comes from. This was valuable advice even when the Food and Drug Administration was functioning well. Story 35. Buy a meat grinder. Purchase primals or large uncut chunks of meat, and process your own hamburger, sausage, and ground pork. Grow your own lettuce or vegetables. Story 36. I try not to eat a lot of any one food that is considered risky. I will have a large salad with the fresh lettuce I just bought, but I avoid consuming large quantities of cantaloupe, strawberries, or deli meat all at once. This way, if I happen to buy a bad batch, I won't consume a large amount of it. Story 37. Start cooking all your food or wash raw produce in a solution of plenty of water with a few drops of bleach. For milk, this might change the flavor slightly, but you can boil and cool it. This is what people in my grandparents' rural European farm community used to do. Story 38. If you enjoy ground beef, consider getting a meat grinder to make it yourself. Ground beef is one of the most frequently recalled meat products. You can also make your own sausage, which is both fun and delicious. Plus, you know what ingredients are included. Story 39. Sailors used to mix liquor with water for a reason. If our water becomes unsafe, stock up your cabinets. Additionally, boiling water can help. Tea and coffee played a significant role in reducing alcohol consumption in Europe. Story 40. Take a food safety class and apply those practices at home. Avoid raw bagged salad and berries. Try to prepare most of your food from scratch to maintain control over the ingredients and handling conditions. Story 41. I am a dietitian and frequently discuss food safety with my clients. One group that needs to pay close attention to food safety is individuals undergoing cancer treatment, as they often have compromised immune systems. Cancer Society websites provide valuable tips on cooking temperatures, always use a thermometer, storage and cleaning practices, as well as recommendations on what to buy and what to avoid. Story 42. Wash produce thoroughly. Avoid prepackaged salads and fruits. Use soap when washing produce. I like Dr. Bronner's. For parasites, a 10% peroxide bath followed by rinsing should take care of that. I use that when juicing raw vegetables and fruits. Cook meats as recommended. No more cold lunch meats. Story 43. Is it bad that in some cases I would rather take my chances? I am not washing a chicken breast. I have always rinsed my vegetables and berries in water, but that is it. If I have to wash them with soap, I probably just won't. Just water unless I can visually see a decline in cleanliness of the produce. Story 44. Acute issues have never really been a problem in America. Our regulations have been sufficient to prevent acute food issues. That's better than the majority of the world can say. Historically, we have struggled with chronic issues related to our food. Eating our food once or twice won't typically cause any issues, and it's been that way for a long time. However, the additives we allow to prevent acute issues can lead to many chronic issues. If you consume our food regularly, you may ingest potentially harmful amounts of other substances. The point is, we are not close to experiencing common foodborne illnesses. We haven't been, and I see no reason we would be. There are concerns, such as legalized non-pasteurized milk, but it will still be labeled as such. I wouldn't worry too much if you continue buying the same products. So far, only those acting recklessly are exposing themselves to acute risks. However, I expect chronic issues to become more severe. Nominally, that's what the current administration is trying to address, but the confidence in their effectiveness is minimal. So maybe a specific additive is gone, but something worse might replace it. In summary, acute food issues likely won't change, but chronic issues might worsen. Story 45. Like I keep stating, based on the thread question asked, those are suggestions. Both are increasingly common kitchen tools. The Instant Pot has been listed on Amazon Prime Day for 3 years running, selling several 100,000 in a day, for instance. If someone projects a defeatist, blinkered attitude of denial because it doesn't fit their individual worldview, then enough is enough. There's clearly more than just that person, and having to wade through that is a waste of time for me. As a result, I am taking a short break, especially as it was around 5 a.m. my time. I had enough of encountering supporters of Trump yesterday with no spare capacity to endure it. Before tariffs and not knowing state taxes, ballpark prices for a generic sous vide device I had seen were as little as $67 via various platforms for the ones new. The Instant Pot has been copied extensively, so a modern multi-cooker I've seen in the UK was as low as £25 in the past, fulfilling the same ability to pasteurize and cook cheaply in a versatile manner. Some recent models now include a sous vide bath option, although there is no water movement. Water movement by an impeller is a safeguard for even heating and cooking, making it safer. With sous vide, we are cooking fish at 40 to 50 degrees Celsius and steak from 54 degrees Celsius upwards, for example, so water flow is better. Vegetables, such as carrots, are cooked around 84 degrees Celsius. Cooking rare can incur excessive energy expenditure. I write as a disabled person and use both as workhorse kitchen tools numerous times a week. While the Instant Pot is heavy on meat, which is great for a roast chicken finished in an air fryer to crisp and utilize all the carcass, a stick blender will likely, with a resealable bag, take meats and fish and enhance their perceived worth in terms of texture and satisfaction several times over. With a brain injury, the timers, delay, and app functionality are helpful for the elderly. Small portion control via sous vide makes it very hard to overcook food, allowing for batch cooking in a simple form that you can walk away from and forget for hours before it's considered spoiled. You can batch cook eggs, soft-boiled, chill them, and store them for 7 days. My daughter, who is a student, benefits from the protein offered, which makes for good breakfasts, egg on toast, or with ramen noodles in her insulated lunchbox. A dozen eggs may equate to 6 meals as the main protein before considering other benefits. To batch cook rice using the pit method, well-washed rice is cooked for 6 minutes at pressure, then release the steam, fluff, store, and chill. Sometimes I'll add an egg, mostly Kikkoman soy sauce, decent toasted sesame oil, and steamed broccoli chopped thinly, resulting in cheap, nutritious food. By furicake seasoning you like to enjoy rice more. Add frozen peas, corn, or broccoli steamed in the microwave, and you have a colorful meal with good nutrition. For Instant Pot macaroni and cheese, look up the Serious Eats Quick method, or simply dump 500 grams of elbow pasta with water and salt, cook for 5 minutes, stir, drain if needed, and add a cheap white sauce, garlic, ground pepper, Spanish sweet paprika, and your choice of peas, sweet corn, and deli ham or omit the ham. Stir, cover, warm, serve, and box the rest for several meals. When I roast a whole chicken, it's pressure cooked. A large UK bird requires 47 minutes to pasteurize. After lifting, I drain and crisp it for 15 minutes using the air fryer, strip the meat, box it, and store it. I reduce the stock using sauté mode, separating it as I pour and chill to yield over 1 liter of stock. The fat rises, solidifies, and can be discarded or used elsewhere. To clean, add water and a squirt of dishwashing liquid, seal the Instant Pot, and steam for 15 minutes. A light scrub, rinse, and dry complete the cleaning process. This device is versatile, has a keep warm function, mine is set to 15 hours, and is economical due to its insulation and frugal energy use. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.